Hang on. Oh, there we go. Now we're live.
What is going on? We're live, Two Dudes Wolfpack.
Yeah.
What is going on? You missed the intro. We apologize, but the intro did happen. And it is Thursday, Shooting Star Press. So you know what that means? That means we messed up, and today we're doing our WWE
That's right.
Wednesday.
That's right. Yeah, we were all ready to go yesterday, and then last minute, a water line breaks at my kid's daycare, and I had to go pick them up because the wife was back at work after a week off, and yeah, so I was on kid duty, and then I had two knuckleheads sitting beside me. I was like, all right, I can't even get any work done. I'm damn sure not going to get a podcast done, but we are here. We are back. Last time
earlier
we saw
than
you,
normal.
last time we saw you, your internet cut off in the middle of the podcast. So
And hopefully not today. I don't know what's going on. I got new internet too, and I sped it up. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. So I haven't even rewatched that episode. So
I had to play. Yeah. I mean, I'm the sidekick. I'm not the leader. So put me in a bad spot. I was like, people know me for my wit and my banter. I'm not the guy that closes us out. So
okay. So I'm not going to do this to call you out because I don't think you're the sidekick, but you saying that, I'm going to age us. Have you ever seen Wayne's World 2?
Yes.
So in Wayne's World 2, there's a part where they become like mainstream and they get sold to like the big company, and Wayne gets mad because they're turning Wayne's World all around. So he quits. And like they fire him. He goes up because he's doing the sphincter for like the sponsor or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they fire him, and Garth is left to like close out the show. And he's just like,
that's how it was.
Was that you? Were you Garth? I didn't know I was Wayne and you're Garth. So it's just like,
because you never know, like when you're, because sometimes your internet goes out and then you come back and you're like in mid thought. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. And then I'm like, okay, but I can't have dead air either. So I'm throwing on. So I'm like, okay. I think he was asking me about CM Punk and main eventing.
WrestleMania and Philly. I don't.
I'm for it. Yeah. Okay, that's our show. I think it was like speaking of aging us, it's Major League, the movie.
Okay.
I think it was Major League 2 when Bob Uecker, who played Harry Doyle,
yes.
he got drunk when he was the announcer.
I think that was part 2. Yeah.
He was the public address announcer, and he passed out while announcing the game, and he left it over to
the young kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, fly ball. And that's it. That was all he said.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and then they started fighting each other and beating each other up. But
that's right. Yeah. And not talking about you, but talking about Wayne and Garth and talking about the Major League one. We were just talking off the air about how there's levels to this game and how you can be great on TikTok, but that doesn't mean you're great in WWE or great in WWE. That doesn't mean you're great here. Like there's levels to this, like in basketball and football, when you advance up and this and that. And that's so funny because that's what I think Garth and that guy too. Like when you do something so flawlessly and it looks so easy, it's like Jokic last night on Nuggets. He just shoots it and it just goes in and it looks so like, well, obviously he's making that. It's so easy. When Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls, it was like, well, obviously he's going to win. He wins all the time. But you don't really, when something is so flawless, you don't realize how hard it is because they're making it look so damn easy. So I'm not saying that with me and you, but in comparisons of, it's funny.
Our intro didn't even play at the beginning.
Yeah.
Of this
so what does that say?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
But what we are going to say is that we have some cool announcements going on. So number one, we are 100% the hottest new wrestling podcast in the world. That's a fact. But we have been dropping the ball a little bit on TikTok and advertising and this and that. So as a parent, you know, towards the end of the school year, stuff gets busy, hectic, work. We're going into summer. So we have been super, super busy. So we are going to start going harder into our TikToking again. I'm going to start advertising. I'm going to post some today. I'm going to go back to my 4 or 5. What? You did not play my intro? Oh, that's funny. I thought he meant what? Like the hottest new podcast. That's my podcast, which is awesome. B-Roll has a phenomenal podcast. But yeah, so we're going to start doing more, promoting more, doing that. Also, I now am switching my work schedule. So I go from working at night to working during the day. So our podcast starting next week, and we'll have better times hopefully tomorrow. Wednesdays and Fridays will start being at nighttime. So now we're going to be in prime time moving forward. So Two Dudes prime time for like 10, 11 weeks. So that should be
Right.
awesome. That means we're going to start doing more lives, more watch-alongs. So Two Dudes is back. We're getting back into it. We took a little bit of like a 2-month, since WrestleMania, figuring out our lives, but we are back. And we're going to start off with a bang tomorrow because what's tomorrow, Shooting Star? What episode is tomorrow?
Tomorrow is episode 50. It is our 50th episode. So we're gonna do that's like the form. Is he still in G Unit 50?
I mean, he created G Unit. I'm assuming he's still in.
I know, the game got kicked out.
No, that was like, dang, now you really age yourself. That's like 03. Finally getting over that WrestleMania hangover. Well, yeah, Patrick, you got us so drunk I haven't been able to recover since. So we are back. TikTok, podcast, we are back on it. Special guest, let's do this. We're back. We're gonna go hardcore. Prime time too.
We're gonna try to have some special stuff tomorrow for our 50th too.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we got to figure some stuff out. Last minute as usual. We talk about levels to this. We are not on that level.
No, but we're going to be starting tomorrow with our 50th. We're back. We are back, baby.
That's right.
Game time.
Get ready. We're coming.
All right. Well, we should probably get going too. Speaking of game time, our show's supposed to be an hour and we always mess that up too. So it's already 6 minutes in. Let's do the WWE weekend review. And we had fire shows. SmackDown, Raw, and NXT were all, I think, pretty solid. Some were better than others, but it was pretty solid. Actually, I think it went Raw, NXT, then SmackDown. And that's not a dog on SmackDown. Just SmackDown, I feel like now is so like Roman, like heavy that it's not even like, I don't know. Like they just so much time is dedicated. I want to talk about that too. We'll get into it. But anyway, SmackDown, I'm going to open up with your boy toy, with the guy that you've been wanting to get pushed and then you hated him because he wasn't getting pushed properly, but now he's getting pushed properly. I have no idea. Patrick, I think, loves this guy. I think B-Roll does too. Yeah. The Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin 2.0 LA Knight. And he came over, had all this hype, and he was a Maximum Male model, which I think they're dead now. Then Maxine took over, who is, an improvement in my eyes. And so LA Knight went back to LA Knight, and he had an awful segment with He Who Do We Not Speak Of, who disappeared as well. And then he lost and then kind of forgot about that. And then he kind of like, yeah, I told you. Yeah. And then he kind of, And then he kind of like the people started liking him. Fans are cheering for him. I don't know. It's because they like him and believe in him, or it's because they want him pushed and he's not being pushed and they want to cheer for an underdog. But he's been getting some wins, and so we have these Money in the Bank. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to lose? And so on. And LA Knight wrestled Montez Ford, and believe it or not, I thought Ford was going to win. I did not go into this thinking LA Knight was going to win, and it was actually a pretty decent match. They had pretty decent chemistry, and LA Knight won. His streak of singles wins has been pretty, I don't know where it's at right now, but it's pretty high. And I actually think he's going into Money Bank as the favorite. What say you?
Yeah.
And that's without, unless, we're getting a little, somebody's son jumping in the Money in the Bank. But I think LA Knight is a favorite as of right this second.
So I thought this match, I thought it was a great match. Don't get me wrong. But I think this match proved just why wrestling fans are
fickle. They're fickle.
Why wrestling fans are fickle, because Montez Ford got booed.
Okay.
I don't know. Were they? I don't want to speak for all the fans, but it felt like they were booing him because they want LA Knight pushed. But all I've been hearing is Montez Ford needs a singles push. Montez Ford needs to break away from the Street Profits. Big push, and he needs to turn heel, and he needs to align with Beyond. We've been saying this. So yeah, this episode, this match really proved to me just how fickle wrestling fans are, because Montez Ford was getting the heel heat. And I think LA Knight might be the favorite, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see it. I don't. I like LA Knight. I think he's good in the ring, but and I guess in the grand scheme of things, wins and losses don't matter in the world of professional wrestling. But it's still hard for me to take him seriously as a contender or as a legit threat to Roman Reigns, as a legit threat to Seth Rollins or even Gunther, just because of how he's been booked. Because, you touched on it. He hasn't wrestled on a pay-per-view. He's only wrestled once on pay-per-view in 2023, and that was against He Who Shall Not Be Named, who used to carry a lantern, and had split personalities and hosted a Firefly Funhouse, and it was a match that glue in the dark. We don't even talk about that match anymore.
No, not allowed to.
He hasn't, and then he didn't wrestle at Elimination Chamber. He didn't get on the main card at WrestleMania. He was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that he lost, and then he wasn't at Backlash, and he was in the crowd in the audience for some reason at Night of Champions, and then that was it. And now all of a sudden I'm supposed to take him seriously as a legit threat to win Money in the Bank and potentially go after one of the top titles. It's not a criticism of LA Knight. I think he's great. I think he's good, but I don't know. Just the way he's been booked makes it hard for me to take him seriously as a legit threat.
I mean, I feel that with you, but once again, remember WWE, even with Triple H, they ignore what happens in the past sometimes, right? And so it's just like Austin Theory, right? So I feel like now they're pushing him, so that's all that matters. If LA Knight cashes in on the secondary title, I'm going to be pissed. I think that's what the new thing is. I think the Money in the Bank is for the secondary titles now. I feel like Gunther straight challenged Matt Riddle, who is he in the Money in the Bank? I don't know why he was. Did he even? I don't think he's even in it yet. So I don't even know why he was mentioned. But yeah, so I agree with what you're saying with this. But I think Triple H thinks fans and WWE has always think fans have short-term memory, and so which we do.
And that's true.
So, and I think they're just now going to push him, and we'll see what happens. But
I hope so.
We got to figure out who everyone's in it, though. I think he's the favorite as of now because I think it's him and. There's only two in it right now. I forgot who the other one is, but So yeah.
I don't know. And then because on Raw, Ricochet and their match ended in a no contest because of what's his face's interference.
Ricochet and Shinsuke are the other two,
yeah,
and LA Knight. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So LA Knight is definitely the favorite out of the three right now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's. I think it'll be I think LA Knight should be the favorite. I think they should push him right as of right now. It depends on if Cody Rhodes gets in there, if Dominic Mysterio gets in there, more main event guys. Then I hope Montez Ford finds a way to get in there because I think he kind of got done a little dirty. I don't think they should have put him against LA Knight in this match in the first place. They could have done it so many different ways to get him in there as well because there's been so many people saying he needs a push. We've been saying it. And now he may not even be in Money in the Bank. So I don't know.
Well, and he's built for Money in the Bank. Once again, like let him showcase himself out of everybody. Imagine him jumping off that ladder and oh my gosh.
He stole the show at Elimination Chamber.
100%
title match. That was fantastic. And he was the star of that. Other than if it wasn't for Logan Paul interfering, he would have been the star of that match. So
I agree.
Yeah. And then for me, I want to talk about the Grayson Waller effect. So on SmackDown, he's done this Grayson Waller effect now twice, and neither time has it landed. The first time he had AJ Styles on for some unknown reason, when AJ Styles was going for the World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions, and all Grayson Waller said was, I think Seth Rollins is going to win, and he got booed for that for some reason. So, and then maybe that was the piped in crowd noise that they used. But,
yeah, it could be.
And then this past episode of SmackDown, he had Asuka on the Grayson Waller effect, and he talked about he congratulated her on her big victory at Night of Champions, and it was a big moment for Asuka, and I'm happy for her. He talked about what's next. They talked about Money in the Bank, and then all of a sudden, all the women came out, and the segment was just completely derailed. And it started. I thought Zelina Vega came out of this moment looking fine and also looking like a star. I think big things are on the horizon for her because she looked really good. But just the overall segment, I mean, having all of the women, the women that came out it was Io Sky, it was Shotzi, it was Bayley, it was Lacey Evans, who was dressed up like Sergeant Slaughter, and then it was
I think it was every female SmackDown.
Yeah, Zelina Vega.
Zelina Vega, yeah. And
then after Zelina Vega basically says that she's gonna be the women's champion after Money in the Bank. She's gonna be Miss Money in the Bank, and then they all brawl, and then out comes Bianca Belair, and she attacks Asuka. So I guess we're not done with that feud. So I don't know. I feel bad for Grayson Waller because this guy was red hot on NXT. This guy was money on NXT. He was the big heel in the group, and now I mean, his segments just aren't landing on the main roster, and I think it's because they haven't given him anything to go with. I mean, when he was doing Grayson Waller effect with Braun Breaker on NXT, he was in the middle of a feud with Braun Breaker on NXT, so he had material to go off of. When he had Shawn Michaels on the Grayson Waller effect, he was going after Shawn Michaels and beating him, attacking him backstage, and name dropping him and name calling him, and getting ejected from the arena because of all the commotion he was causing, and it kind of gave him some material about why he's attacking Shawn. But the two segments he's had on the main roster have just fallen flat, haven't gotten any reaction, and I feel bad for him because the man is money if they give him something to work with.
Yeah, and the difference is, I think, is that when he was on NXT doing that, he was the biggest heel in NXT, so he was being pushed correctly. Now he's like a joke. So when it's all about how you're being pushed and perceived, right? So when you come out and you're just supposed to be the comedy and the cutting the thing, that's how he's delivering it, and it's awful. God, and I was so close to doing, because you said when Selena Vega came out, it felt big, and I was going to make a comment about that, because when Selena Vega came out, it definitely did feel big. Yes, but that is there anything more played out in wrestling? Maybe WWE more so than AEW, than everybody coming out and saying, I deserve the title. I deserve the title. I'm the number one contender. I deserve the match. I am like, who, like, come on. Yeah. You guys are all, I haven't even seen half of you wrestle. Half of you are losing. Like what Lacey Evans, what did you do? Like, other than Selena and Io Sky, like Bailey coming out and like, I love Bailey. She's one of the greatest female superstars alive ever. She's top 20 ever easily. Even her coming out, I'm like, Bailey, what the heck have you done? Like, why are you like, you don't just get to come out and say you deserve it. Like, why not just have one person come out and push it and then have the match and do, like, I don't know. It's really, really weird stuff. But Selena Vega is getting pushed like a star, and hopefully she can win that Money in the Bank contract. That'd be fun.
I hope so.
I don't know if she's the favorite, but she's doing it.
I think she was as of Friday night, but after Monday night, I don't know anymore. But, But yeah, I mean, great. And like we were talking about with Grayson Waller, I mean, he went from being the heel to being a heel, and
but is he a heel? Is that what they're trying to do with him?
I don't
it's
know.
Like he's trying to be the Miz, and there's only one Miz, so it's like really, I don't know what's going on. It's pretty atrocious. I feel bad, but Triple H, I know you listen, or your executives or your assistants or whatever. Stop. Get rid of the Grayson Waller effect and just have him take 2 weeks off, come back and beat the crap out of one of your big baby faces on SmackDown and become a heel. That's what you need to do with Grayson Waller. That's what he needs to do. Yes. Anything. The dude is money, and don't waste them. And you're already wasting them. You got to remember, I would say, out of non-hardcore fans, so just regular WWE fanboys, put Grayson Waller in the ring ASAP. B-roll, you were 100% correct. Out of all of the WWE just regular basic fans, I would say 30% watch NXT. I might even say less. I would say 30% watch NXT. There was hardcore fans like we talk about that don't even watch NXT. I bet Patrick barely watches NXT, and he's a pretty hardcore fan. Santi, one of the biggest TikTok people, didn't even watch NXT at that time until he came on our show and we told him to watch it. So people don't watch NXT. So this is what people are getting. This is what they're seeing Grayson Waller. You can ruin him. So stop it now. Yeah. Let them see who he really is and let him get that push. Because I feel like sometimes WWE thinks people are like seriously tuned in. Like they know these pieces. I barely watch NXT. So that's what I'm saying. So Patrick said that. So it's, So anyway, let's get it going. But speaking of something that I think was kind of done right, let's talk about the close of SmackDown. And let's talk about Roman Reigns' celebration. Now, for our questions and our segment, let's not talk about the belt. We'll save that. He got a new belt, though. Let's not talk about it. But he got a new belt. It was introduced. So basically, Triple H came out first, like always, because Triple H always needs that damn airtime. He's a good-looking cat, so he always wants to be on camera. So he comes out, and he introduces a new belt. It's the same exact belt, but gold. So, which makes sense. But the one thing that was weird, although now after TikTok and everything, because Roman Reigns has been posted on TikTok, I'm assuming the other two belts are now gone. But I did think it's weird that they gave him the new belt, and then Paul Heyman still held the other two. And for a second,
and
we
texted
each other. Yeah. I was like, oh no, he doesn't have three now, right? But I feel like now they've gotten rid of it because he's been talking about just that new belt. But they introduced a new belt, but Triple H called him the Michael Jordan of wrestling. I have this. There was two bad parts of this segment, and the rest of this segment was one of my favorite segments of the Bloodline, honestly. And because I keep crapping on the Bloodline, because I keep talking about how they have nowhere to go and that it's getting stale, and then it's like Dumb and Dumber, aging myself again, when Jim Carrey's like, we're in a hole and we just got to dig ourselves out. It's like, that's how every time I just feel, or you know what I mean? Like, just when I thought you totally you completely redeem yourself. Like, this is like how I feel like with the Bloodline, where every time I'm like, here it goes, they just get me right back out. We'll get into why. But the two bad things was one, dang, now I forgot my train of thought. Oh, Triple H. For one, they had a commercial break. So they literally talked the entire time about how the Usos were not going to come on. Adam Pearce literally like 8 minutes before this was like, the Usos, their flight was canceled. I have triple security. There's no chance. Then they literally just came out of the entrance ramp. They didn't wait, huh? Like, if you're going to have, what was the point of that? If you're going to have that segment that you lock them out of the building, then why would you have them have an entrance? And it's so stupid. But anyway, they went to a commercial. How do you have a Roman Reigns closing segment with did you think the commercial break was odd? I mean, you don't have to go with it, but yes or no? Like, it was odd, right? It was like
it was very
I thought
weird.
It was weird that they went to commercial. I was like, okay. But anyway, and that Triple H literally created a title for Seth Rollins, and in so shat all over Roman Reigns. And then he comes out now and he's like praising. He's like that friend that you have that's friends with like you and your old friend. And so every time that friend hangs out with them, they shit on you. And every time they hang out with you, they shit on them. And you're just kind of like, that's like, that's Patrick. So like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, dude, like it's, once again, let's talk about How I Met Your Mother. That's what we are, two dudes with attitudes of wrestling / How I Met Your Mother podcast. There was a time where Lily found an old friend and they were talking about how just wait, Lily sees this friend because she's the Patrick. Hey, man. He's like, what? Have you been reading my text again? But like, he literally, Lily's like a complete different person. You're going to just wait for it. And she meets her friend, and her friend is black. And she's like, hey, girl, damn, what's going on? And Lily's like this whole different, let's do some shots, girl. And then you find out like the black girl, like they ask her questions. She's like a complete normal person. And she's like, yeah, every time I hang out with Lily, I got to like be that girl because that's what Lily wants. And it's just funny. That's how I feel like Triple H is. Like, no, Seth, it's all about you. Roman is nothing. He ain't, hey, Roman, best ever. Michael Jordan, watch out. Here he comes. Let's give you that belt, man. This is the workhorse belt right here. Let's take it. Here you go. It's like he's such like a two-faced like CEO. But anyway, I talked way too long. Basically what happened was that Jay was standing in the back. Jimmy got mad again. Jimmy shoved Roman in a moment where my heart stopped. Again, it was like a get the like push, shove, face, like Roman, the crowd ate it up. I was like, oh shit. And then Roman hugs him. As soon as he hugs him, saying that the bloodline is still, I was just waiting. Oh, and Solo had already said he's with his brothers. So Solo said, I'm going to my brothers, their family. You're not. It felt like the bloodline was done. Roman is history. So Roman caves in because he needs his posse. And as soon as he's hugging him, he did the whole like smile to the finish him. And Solo grabs Jimmy and spikes the bananas out of him. And Jay stands there crying. And they're just, Jimmy's like literally crying in Jay's arms as they're like, Solo and Roman are leaving. Holy crap. We are back, baby. Where the hell is this? I know we're all going to say, it's going to go Solo turning. When Roman loses the belt, this is how it's going to work. Or is it? Where is this going? Is Jay going to turn? Why is Jay being so silent about where is this? Is the done? Are we going to get Jimmy on his own? And maybe Jimmy and Solo and Jay goes with Roman, the story, and then Jay turns on Roman? Like, is this going to go another like year? I mean, you can go, and you get what I mean with that, right? Like, they'll split up, but then Jay will stay with Roman and then end up betraying Roman 8 months from now to win the title to finish. I mean, who knows where this is going? Like, did you like this segment? I liked it. I mean, I really did. I think that this is going back up again.
Yeah, this is the plot line to Captain America's Civil War. It's because it's just a bunch of infighting between the groups. You know, you had Iron Man versus Captain America, and you have, you know, all of Captain America's cronies going against Iron Man's cronies. But you know, the one thing that stood out to me in this whole thing too was, where did the Usos come from? I wish they would have followed up a little bit more on that because they just popped up out of nowhere. There's like at least like show us like some down security guards backstage or something. WWE loves doing that with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Why not let the Usos take out some security? Or you said their flight was canceled. Show us a plane landing and being like, oh wait, maybe it wasn't canceled. Maybe they or show a car. Maybe they took an Uber there. I don't know.
The Greyhound,
but, something. Yeah, I mean, him and Sami Zayn were hanging out by a bus one episode. So show us something. But other than that, I thought the segment was great. I mean, there's so many, and because I liked it because there's so many different angles that this thing can go. There's so many different ways that this story can go, and I think the bloodline is back, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I do think it leads to maybe another tag team match at Money in the Bank, and it's Solo and Roman versus the Usos,
or at SummerSlam.
Or at SummerSlam, and I think eventually we're going to get to Roman versus Jay. I think Jay is the catalyst in this story. The one thing that I wanted to bring up too from this segment was Paul Heyman at the end asking Roman Reigns about, what about Jay? And Roman says, Jay's going to do what he always does. He'll fall in line. But do we have to go through this whole which side is Jay Uso on yet again?
Right.
I mean, how many times are we going to, because he did this with Sami Zayn. When Sami Zayn turned, Jay Uso didn't attack Sami. And then he came back 2 weeks later at Elimination Chamber and didn't attack Sami again and walked out on Roman. Then he came back and turned on Sami, but he only did it because of his brother Jimmy. And it's just, how many times are we going to play the angle of which way is Jay on? We know which side he's on. He's going to choose Jimmy, I think. So yeah,
and don't forget too, the bloodline started because of that.
Yeah,
Jay and Roman wrestled, and then he had a fall, and then he chose him, and then they started
So it's just it feels like it's a little bit of the same thing, unless there's a twist coming and Jay does decide to turn on his brother and go the route, and maybe he wants to destroy the bloodline from within. But I'm excited about this story. I think there's a lot of ways that this thing can go. I didn't like Triple H, all over Roman and calling him the Michael Jordan of wrestling when he just crapped on him 2 weeks later, and Roman still, being the bigger man that he is, hasn't said anything about the World Heavyweight Championship. When all Seth Rollins does is talk about Roman Reigns, he hasn't said a word about it. He hasn't done anything about it, and I think
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. And I wish that Seth would focus on his brand and not focus so much on what Roman's doing. But
we'll get into that.
Yeah, I thought this was good stuff. I thought this was a good segment, a great way to end SmackDown. Stuttering now, but considering where they were with the bloodline before Night of Champions, when it was just Solo and the Usos against Riddle, Zayn, and KO week in and week out, and now it's now they're starting to get somewhere. Now they're getting to that next chapter.
I agree.
Now for me, really wasn't, other than the bloodline and other than Roman and the horrible Grayson Waller effect, there was not a lot to talk about from SmackDown. So one thing I want to talk about is some announcements that were made on SmackDown.
All right.
And we're going to basically this Friday. So SmackDown likes to do this thing where they talk about what's going to happen on the show next week, as opposed to what's happening on the show tonight.
Yes.
So tomorrow, this Friday, Baron Corbin will be coming back on Friday Night SmackDown and wrestling in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Not only that, but Mustafa Ali will also be making his triumphant return to Friday Night SmackDown and wrestling also in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. I think Ali's, I can't remember who he's going against. I know Baron Corbin's going against Pete Dunne or Butch, one of them. Yeah. And then,
it's the same person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was thinking of the other guy in Brawling Brutes. Yeah. But we just saw them on NXT. So are they going to give them the Johnny Gargano treatment where, what happens on NXT is a separate universe and there's big stars and studs over there, because they got star treatment this week on NXT. And, they both showed up last week on NXT and made their statements. And now, are they going to win the Money in the Bank qualifying matches? Are they going to lose? Is it going to be two separate things? Again, I feel like we harp on this all the time, but what was the point of the draft? I still don't understand what the point of the draft was when you're going to have, we all wanted Baron Corbin to go to NXT. I thought we talked last week how I thought Mustafa Ali would be great in NXT. But what I meant when I said that is
yeah,
keep them there for a little bit. Let them build some, build their career back up, build their characters, get over there, win some titles, get some confidence, get better, and then come back to the main roster. I didn't mean to have them on the main roster and in NXT. So it's just more of this confusing stuff with this draft. It makes no sense. I don't understand what they're doing. And it makes me wonder if they are, like I said, going to have that Johnny Gargano treatment where he was on the road to Stand and Deliver, and he was winning matches. He was, cutting scathing promos. And then he was also on Monday Night Raw where he was losing matches and acting like he wasn't even in a feud at all with Grayson Waller. So I'll be curious to see what happens with that. If both Corbin and Ali will be in Money in the Bank, or if they will, if they'll lose and go to NXT exclusively.
Yeah, and I hope they don't, because here's the thing too, is that they talked about on NXT that the free agents, so they had Ali, Baron Corbin, and then Dana Brooke are the wrestler formerly known as Dana Brooke, because it didn't look like Dana Brooke.
Yeah,
but them three them three came back and they announced that they were free agents, which meant they can choose what brand they want to be signed to, not wrestle on, all of them, what they want to be. They literally stated that they chose NXT, but now they're on SmackDown. Here's the thing that I don't want them to do. I don't want them to do the Gargano way, because for one, Ali just had a big win against Gacy, and you don't want him now to lose. And Baron Corbin is literally dominating, looking like he's going to be the next NXT champion. You can't have him go and lose. So why even? And if they win, then they're in the match? It makes no sense. They need to treat them like Mandy Rose and Apollo Crews, where they went back to build their character, build their brand. And Mandy Rose would have been the biggest female star in the WWE right now if she didn't make $1 billion off OnlyFans or the other brand. And Apollo Crews is doing okay coming over. So that's what you need to do with these two. The end. I don't want to see any more of going back and forth. And NXT is NXT, Raw is Raw, SmackDown is SmackDown. And with the draft, I hope they never bring it back again. We are done with it. It's stupid and pointless. There's no point. You either have them separate, and I hope AEW is watching this and learning, because I don't want them to do this with Collision and Dynamite as well. If you're going to split the brands, split the brands. It helps push wrestlers, gives them more airtime. It's better for everyone. So that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
But and it also, you're booking WWE into a corner too, or WWE's booking themselves into a corner, because if LA Knight is the favorite to win Money in the Bank, that means Baron Corbin and Ali can't win Money in the Bank, and if they can't win Money in the Bank, that makes them look a little bit weaker when they go back to NXT, being like, "Hey guys, we couldn't win over there, so we're over here now." So
yes.
It just doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense to have them
at all
compete. And I mean, you're just either have them lose the qualifying matches or to have them lose at Money in the Bank. Either way, it's not a good look.
I agree. But speaking of what you should do and what's a good look, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. And I want to talk about a segment between two stars. Hold on, let's see what B-roll says to close out. You have the people they are feuding with on NXT cost them their match to qualify for Money in the Bank. Okay, that works.
Yeah, I could get down with
that. But that's correlating.
As long as they correlate the stories and not make it two separate things where we don't see Carmelo Hayes and we don't see Wesley or the other guy.
I just want them to be their own brand. I don't want to keep doing the mixing.
Agreed.
Yes, but speaking of something done right, let's talk about WWE booking a promo between the biggest heel in wrestling against the biggest babyface in wrestling. And I think this was a shock for everybody. So The Miz has his Miz TV, and he has Cody Rhodes out there, and it's awkward, and he's throwing shots at Cody, and Cody's handling his business. And Miz says that he has a special guest. He has a shocker of a person, and he calls out Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley, and they come out, and Dominic is getting booed out of the freaking wazoo. They sit down. Cody Rhodes cuts probably one of the funniest lines. He has two of them. One of them is that he talked about how Dominic Mysterio with his teardrop tattoo has prison tattoo than he does, making fun of his ridiculous neck tattoo. So I did like that joke. I thought that was pretty funny. And also he made up a line too about how his father isn't perfect and made a lot of money.
I think we lost you again. think we lost you.
Am I back?
Yeah,
I'm back. Dang it. All right. So one of the biggest, so basically he said one of the mistakes ever was having, hold on, connectivity on who may be limited. Why is it limited? I don't understand. I got a Spectrum. I'm very upset. Sorry about that. Anyway, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I don't know how it's, I have like a little thing next to it. Why is it limited? I don't. Okay. Anyway, let's try to get the show on the road then. So basically he said his where was I at? The mistake. Did I say that one?
You were talking about the best thing that ever happened to Mysterio's father.
Yeah. Was that he was, whatever. So they come out, they cut their little thing. Dom can't even talk. Every time he grabs a mic, he's getting booed out of the damn building. Cody then mocks him and tells everybody to stop booing him, let him talk. It was pretty funny. Dom cut some good lines, calling him a deadbeat dad, and he's just like his father because he's not there with his daughter where he should be. He just talks over it now. Rhea's telling the crowd to stop booing him. It's some fantastic stuff. They go to leave. Dominic, once again, chicken shit heel 101, runs over to Cody, smacks him pretty hard in the face, and instead of running out of the ring, hides behind Rhea Ripley. This is how you make a heel. You put the biggest heel versus the biggest babyface up against each other. Cody Rhodes wants a piece of it, but he's a good babyface. He's not going to hit a woman. And Dominic's just behind, mocking Rhea, saying, hit me, let's go. And they leave. It is awesome. Cody Rhodes gets upset, so he knocks the Miz out. A+. I thought this was the promo of the week in wrestling. I thought it was phenomenal. This is why I keep telling you that the Dom Dom fan club is in full effect. He's a star. Cody, though, once again, he's still getting pushed. The woes still big and everything, but more and more every day, I'm starting to feel like he is just John freaking Cena. But anyway, I don't want to take away from it. Dom Dom's a star. Anyone who's crapping on it, because I saw people crapping that they did a segment together, you are crazy. Let's go. And I'm thinking Dom Dom's going to win with the help of Brock Lesnar, just so you know. I think Dom Dom's going to beat Cody. So
you think this is leading to a match at Money in the Bank?
Which will lead to a match at Slam with Cody and Brock 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was thinking it was going to lead to both of them getting in Money in the Money in the Bank ladder match somehow.
Oh, that can okay. I'll take that too. I'll take that instead of a match.
Cost Cody that.
Yeah. But, I'll take that. Yeah.
But either way, I love this segment. I thought it was fire. I thought it was. I don't know if you saw the video on TikTok of Cody Rhodes coming out with Rhea Ripley after he slapped Cody Rhodes and he was singing to Cody's theme and he was like, "Whoa, I just slapped Cody Rhodes." Yeah, it was.
I have it on my TikTok. Yep.
Yeah, it was so awesome. He is just getting better and better every week. I love what they're doing. Rhea Ripley's fantastic. She's right now the best in the business in the women's wrestling. She's just getting better and better. Cody is Cody at this point. I mean, they're going to push him to the moon, and I guess we got to get over it. But I loved it. I like having, this is what you want in wrestling. You want the top heel in the company, which right now is Dominic Mysterio, despite the fact that, because Roman gets cheers. Nobody cheers Dominic. Everybody boos Dominic. But you want the top heel on your brand against the top babyface on your brand. And I think that's what we're going to get somehow, some way. I like what they did. The Miz felt like a complete afterthought in this whole thing, which was unfortunate for him. But, that's what happens. But it also shows you, going back to the Grayson Waller effect, that's how you host a talk show. Miz got some heel heat taking shots at Cody. He brought out Dominic, and it was all well done. And Grayson Waller needs to take some notes from Mr. Mike Mizanin. But other than that, everything was great. I love Dominic. The man is just unbelievable right now.
And before you talk about your segment, since you said Mike Mizanin, I love that too, that he called him Mike and he said, it's The Miz. First name The, last name Miz.
Last name Miz. Yeah, it was so funny. And then he talked about tiny balls. It was all good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cody,
yes,
I know we talk about him getting pushed, getting the Cena treatment, but that man, he is gold on the mic. And
heck yeah.
I didn't like him at first on the mic. He sounded kind of poetic and robotic, and he used the big
Mhm.
words. And now, like, I just feel like he can go with anybody on the mic. He can make anybody look like $1,000,000 on the mic. And from Roman to Sami Zayn to Kevin Owens to The Miz to Dominic Mysterio now. So, yeah, I love what they're doing. I love this, and I hope it leads to something. I hope it wasn't just a one-off because Brock's not here tonight, so we got to fill in a segment. I hope it
Yeah.
leads to something between Dominic and Cody, whether it's in Money in the Bank or they have a match against each other. Either way,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong.
I agree.
Speaking of something else that they did right, you know, a couple weeks ago we did our way too early Money in the Bank predictions, and we said that we predicted there would be Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark at Money in the Bank. For, you know, and neither one of them would be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. It would just be a one-on-one match, and it would lead to Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch 2 at SummerSlam. But instead, what WWE gave us was 2 Money in the Bank qualifying matches with Becky Lynch going against who did she wrestle? I had it. It was Sonya Deville.
Yes.
She wrestled Sonya Deville with Chelsea Green by her side, and then you know, Zoe Stark later in the night had a match as well, and both of them won their
Zoe
matches.
beat Natalia.
And so now it's going to lead to a money. Oh, yeah, of course, everybody beats Natalia. Unfortunately, but Zoe Stark beat Natalia, and then Becky Lynch beat Sonya Deville, and now they're going to go into the women's ladder match at Money in the Bank. And you know, I know we said Zelina Vega was the favorite to win that thing as of Friday, but now I think, you know, Becky Lynch could win it. Zoe Stark could win it. You know, Zelina Vega could still win it. I still think Zoe Stark and Becky Lynch, they focus on each other that whole match. They're just beating the heck out of each other, that they don't really pay any attention to the rest of what's going on. And that's how maybe Zelina gets the win. But either way, I'm glad they're doing it this way as opposed to having one of them take a big loss right before the SummerSlam event. I think this is a good way they can have them lose without getting pinned, and you build to Trish versus Becky, or Trish and Lita, or Trish and Zoe Stark against Becky Lynch and Lita at SummerSlam, however they want to do it. But I'm glad that they're doing it this way with having Zoe Stark and Becky Lynch in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
I agree with you. I think this is a way better way. And I think they are going to cancel each other out, and Trish Stratus will interfere with that. And Trish Stratus is obviously here to stay. She's on every night. She wrestles more. She's on TV more than almost anybody. Yeah. Thank you, Trish. My shirt's coming today, actually. So it's funny that the thing that we did predict that they would go. I liked both matches. I like Becky winning. Sonya Deville, man, she is gorgeous. Congrats to her too. It's her month, but dang, she has won. Chelsea, gosh, good. So congrats to Sonya Deville Pride Month, and congrats to Zack Ryder for having Chelsea Green. But they were both good matches. Zoe Stark looked good. It looked like Zoe Stark's messed Natalia up with her finisher. I feel like every time Zoe, unless people just sell it really well, I feel like every time she does that finisher, the person that did it looks like it was a mess up. I don't know. Natalia looked pretty messed up, but maybe it was a thing. I'm all for this. I don't think they're the favorites. I still think Zelina is. I don't think either of them are winning. I think it's going to build to SummerSlam, and maybe SummerSlam. Maybe we're going to really give Zoe Stark a rub, and she'll wrestle, and we'll have Trish and Becky later on. I don't know where that's going. We'll have better after Money in the Bank, but I liked it. Matches were good. Right people won. I think the women's Money in the Bank is looking a little bit better than the men's right now, but you know, there's still a lot more to go. So I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying as of now. And with that said, I want to talk about something that I'm a little confused by. And this is Seth Rollins in the Workhorse title. And I'm calling it the Workhorse title because that's what they are calling it. Seth called it that. I think other people called it that. Corey Graves, the announcers, everybody's calling it the Workhorse title. And so what I'm thinking is that what that means is that he's going to wrestle all the time. He wrestled Damian Priest, which we'll get into. And then now he's already prepped to maybe wrestle somebody else because he came out afterwards. And then we'll talk about on NXT what's going on with that. Okay. Here's my thing, all right? And hear me out. Okay. Roman Reigns, I get it. Roman Reigns people didn't like because he never wrestled. And I always was that advocate that the fact that it made the belt feel important. There's a reason why Hogan's title reigns, Bruno Sammartino's title reigns, Stone Cold, these guys had these titles, Shawn Michaels, they had these title reigns because they only wrestled when it was important. You do not wrestle all the time because you're doesn't feel important. I didn't like John Moxley as champ because he wrestled on Rampage and he wrestled all the freaking, he was defending that title like it was going on. You don't feel important if I see you every single week. And now people are starting to say that about Orange Cassidy. He wrestles too much. When you're defending your title every week, you get stale, man. People are like bored of it. Seth Rollins wrestling like in an open challenge, that does not make that title feel important. It makes a title feel weak. The workhorse title is built for the IC title and the US title, not for the heavyweight championship. And I think it's making his title feel Bush League because he continues to pair it to Roman Reigns. So he's talking about it. Roman Reigns is the champion. That was the title that's been around forever, and he won them both. And then they created a title that you won. So don't compare your title to Roman Reigns. And you can make it that, yes, you're defending it all. Like, be on Raw every single week, talk, start feuds, but wrestle once in a while on Raw for your title, and then wrestle every pay-per-view, our live event. That is what makes it feel better than Roman's or more special. I do not like them doing the workhorse title. I think it makes them look Bush League. And I think also he's going to knock out contenders too fast, and then we're not going to have anybody left for him to wrestle. Because when you have an IC or a US, you can wrestle other people that aren't there. You can wrestle Dolph Ziggler. You can wrestle, because you can take those wins. It's not going to hurt them. You're not going to get Dolph Ziggler for the title. So you're beating like people like Damian Priest who need a push, and now you're taking that away. So why are you going to wrestle for the title again in the future? So I don't like it at all. World Championships, the main belt is built for feuds, not for let's wrestle all the time. Am I off with this?
No, not at all. And I didn't like that. You know, we talk about this every other week too, but Judgment Day took another loss, and it really hurts Damian Priest, I think. And but no, I completely agree. I don't think Seth Rollins needs to wrestle every single week. I mean, I like seeing him wrestle, but it just feels like they're only doing it to take shots at Roman, because look, it's look what I can do. Look what I'm doing. I'm wrestling. I'm here every week. Where's Roman Reigns? You know, but yet Roman is the top draw on SmackDown. Apparently SmackDown had really high ratings this week because Roman Reigns was there with the Bloodline to explore the next chapter. And I don't think Raw's ratings weren't I don't think they were down, but I don't think they went anywhere near up from what they've been doing week to week. So yeah, it just feels like they're constantly taking shots at Roman Reigns. And when WWE is the one that agreed to let him have the schedule that he has, number one, and number two, it makes Seth's title feel less important. And I do hate it for the other guys. I hate it for the Damian Priest. I hate it for now it's looking like Finn Balor's going to get a shot at the title, and I don't think he's going to win. I don't think, you know, if Seth Rollins is wrestling every week, I think it devalues the title. Look at Gunther. Gunther, I mean, when he defends the Intercontinental title, it is a show. It is a big moment. They have pre-taped segments. They have pre-taped interviews talking about what the Intercontinental title would mean. They have Gunther talking about what the Intercontinental title means to him. It feels important. And then, you know, when he does wrestle, it's huge. And so, yeah, this whole wrestling every week and putting it, I don't hate it, but I also it feels like it's devaluing the World Heavyweight Championship, because while you're defending it, yes, but it feels like they're just doing it to get at Roman. And that's really the only reason that they're doing it. I
agree fully. Let Seth just be the champ, be that important figure.
Yeah. And then another thing too that I guess we can talk about is the main event with Seth Rollins and Damian Priest. We had a great match earlier, speaking of Gunther, with Kevin Owens. I thought that was a fantastic match. There was no build to it. It just kind of happened, and Kevin Owens, you know, got angry backstage and says, "Cut me!" He just comes out to the ring and his music plays, and then there's a match, and it was a great match. I think it had like 2 or 3 commercial breaks in there, but it was a good match, and yeah, I hope we get to see them again. But I want to talk about we talked about this just a minute ago. Judgment Day, Damian Priest losing to Seth Rollins, but now it's looking like there's some turmoil within the Judgment Day as Finn Balor earlier in the night. I mean, we talked about Orange Cassidy, right? Orange Cassidy has to open every episode of Dynamite. I feel like Seth Rollins has to open every episode of Monday Night Raw now. But Seth Rollins came out and cut a promo. Out came the Judgment Day. Damian Priest said that he was going to answer Seth Rollins' challenge. Finn Balor said, I'll be there in your corner. And Damian Priest basically said to Finn, no, I don't need you. I'm going to do this on my own tonight. And then in the match, later in the night, Finn Balor comes out and interferes and costs Damian Priest the match. And you could see Damian Priest was legitimately mad about it. He was confused. Like, what do you do? He even one time said, what are you doing out here? What are you doing? This is my match. And then Seth Rollins got the stomp and pinned him and retains his World Heavyweight Championship. So what do you think about the turmoil in the bloodline, in the Judgment Day? Because it feels like I don't know if they're teasing it to have a story on Raw and a story on SmackDown, but it does feel like all the factions in WWE are imploding at the exact same time. You have Damage Control is probably going to be breaking up any minute now. Then we're going to have the Bloodline and all their drama. And now apparently there's drama in the Judgment Day, and makes me wonder, are they going to kick Finn Balor out and he's going to go on his own? Because Rhea Ripley had the Damian Priest shirt on showing her support for the man. Or are they gonna turn on Damian Priest and let him turn babyface, since he got a huge, he had that great match with Bad Bunny and apparently he was well received backstage. So I think they want to give him a big push. So I don't know, but I didn't like Judgment Day losing, like we were just talking about, and but it does make me concerned about the future of the Judgment Day.
Here's the thing: you can break up Judgment Day, and I know they're hinting at it. For one, I just bought 8 shirts on WWEshop.com, and 6 of them are Judgment Day related.
So
either the single people or new Judgment Day stuff. So yeah, they better not do that. But I mean, can Judgment Day survive? Sure, but we need factions. So why would you, when the Bloodline is gone and you have Judgment Day for them to build, why not use them? So I can see Finn leaving and maybe JD McDonough taking over for him, because I can see Finn becoming a babyface, and also they all went and got matching Judgment Day tattoos in real life, and Finn wasn't there. Maybe that's why. Oh, B-Roll thinks they should be a tag team. Okay, but I think JD needs to be in Judgment Day, because I think that's a good push, like Zoe Stark's getting with Trish. But I don't think they should break up. I thought Damian Priest looked phenomenal in the main event. I thought he lost the correct way, but like I said, you don't have him lose already. Build Damian Priest in a feud with Seth Rollins. So I don't like the workhorse title thing, because then it feels more important. So when he loses, at least he got the rub and the build all the way up into it. Then he has a great match and loses. Now it's built him. Sure, he had a great match, but now next week it's just going to be he lost again. And now what, is Finn going to lose again? So I don't know. I don't like the friction of them breaking up either. I don't even want Finn to leave, because I like Finn with them.
Yeah, I like the way Judgment Day is. Yeah, they don't.
And they haven't been around that long. They haven't been around a year. Like, why are you already like wanting to? They're so hot right now. Keep them going. Raw needs it. They need a good. Yeah, I mean, that's coming from me. Maybe people in the comments can talk about it or hit us up later. But I'm just not a big fan of breaking them up. I think they're clicking on all cylinders, and they can continue to click on all cylinders. So don't break them up.
I agree. I'm okay with they add another guy and add to the Judgment Day, but I don't think they need to kick somebody else out and make somebody else the new leader, because then they're going to have, it'll be like Nexus again, or New Nexus, or even when they kicked Edge out of the Judgment Day. I thought that was way too soon when they kicked Edge out. So I don't know. I just don't break them up. Just leave it alone. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And they're one of the best factions in the company right now. Again, you want to add to it with adding JD McDonough, go for it. But don't do it at the expense of Damian Priest or at the expense of Finn Balor, making them feud with each other, or Dominic Mysterio. That's another one that I work. Or Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley decides to go on her own, and then I don't want that either. So just
I don't know.
Leave
Rhea
them
and Dom look pretty. They look pretty together in real life. So all right. So NXT, we've already kind of hinted at some of this. So I want to talk about Baron Corbin. I've been saying forever that he's a star. I declared years ago the most underrated wrestler of all time. He deserves it better. The only thing they've done wrong with him in NXT so far is kept his music. He got rid of the stupid segment. He's not wearing the JBL shirt anymore, but they kept this dumb Happy Corbin music. He needs to go back to the Lone Wolf song. That song is fire. Bring back that Baron Corbin, because that's who he is. I thought he looked like a star. He cut a promo Dragunov, and it was great. And he just looks strong. He looked bigger than He just looks threatened. Then Trick Williams came out and interfered on him, and that felt good because he's defending, the honor again of Carmelo Hayes. It all just felt good. Baron Corbin just fits in there. He came out, had a really good match with Trick Williams won, which he needed to do, and I think they're really pushing him. Like I said, with Trick Williams being pushed kind of as a solo star now, and now Baron coming over, I really think Carmelo Hayes is done with it. I think he's going to drop the belt to Baron. Baron's going to take over, and Carmelo is going to go over to either SmackDown or Raw, which he deserves because Carmelo Williams is a star, and maybe he can help Hit Row because Hit Row is a flipping mess, or just go solo. Yeah. But either way, they can have him go over there. I think it's ready. I think all I wanted was Carmelo to do was win the belt before he left. He doesn't need a long reign. I think he's grown past NXT. And I really like Baron Corbin being the champ and kind of carry. He can have some phenomenal matches with some great people. I like what they're doing with Baron. What say you? Is he just there for a few, or is he there for the long haul? I mean, I think he needs an Apollo Crews, Mandy Rose type of push. He needs to be there for a year or longer.
I do too. And I liked his promo that he cut where he basically denounced the entire NXT roster, saying that all they do is play on their phones and they're not watching anything. They don't respect the business. And then I like that he talked about that he was the last one to pin Roman Reigns. I like that he brought that up.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Finally, right? Retired Kurt and the last man to pin.
Yeah.
We've been saying that he never brings that up. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they finally brought that up on NXT. And, it raised some eyebrows, and I'm sure people are like, I'm excited that he's there. I'm glad. I think it's a good fit for him. I like the opening to NXT too, where they show Baron Corbin walking through the backstage arena, and he's staring down everybody. Everybody's looking at him, and he's like, what are you gonna like? This is the Baron Corbin I like to see. I didn't like his music, the casino stuff with the music. I'm like, what are we doing with this?
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was great. They're booking him like a star, and that's why I'm concerned that with what we were talking about earlier with him coming to SmackDown. He even said it after he beat Trick Williams. He looked at the camera and said, "I'm coming to Friday Night SmackDown, and I'm going to qualify for Money in the Bank."
Yep.
So I'm hoping that the stories correlate with each other and they don't treat it as two separate universes. And he goes out there and loses on SmackDown, because I think that will kill his NXT momentum.
I agree.
So I like what they're doing. I think him and Mustafa Ali are being treated like stars in NXT. And I think that's a good. I think he'll be there for the long haul, and I think he needs to have a lengthy run there and just rebuild himself into a credible threat, like Mandy Rose did, like you were saying.
Yep.
And then going back to, I feel like we're just repeating ourselves at this point, but Braun Breaker apparently attacked Dragunov backstage after Dragunov said he was going to have a match with Baron Corbin tonight, and then all of a sudden Trick Williams gets the match instead because Braun Breaker takes him out. Which, okay, whatever. I guess it's going to lead to Dragunov versus Braun Breaker. But the big moment at the close of SmackDown was Braun Breaker challenging your workhorse champion, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins, to a match for the World Heavyweight title. I guess on NXT next Tuesday.
He said on NXT, yeah.
So are we going to see Seth Rollins on SmackDown accepting the challenge in a backstage segment? I don't know, because what draft, right? Who cares about the draft? Just have everybody come in anywhere. But I didn't like that. I know a lot of people like this, and I think it, but I didn't. I didn't like this. I don't think. I mean, I'm excited to have Seth Rollins on NXT. I think it's anytime you have a main roster guy, a big star like Seth on your show, I think it's going to be fire. I think the match is going to be great, but Seth isn't losing. So again, we're just talking about he's just wrestling for the sake of wrestling at this point. And the big thing for me is Triple H came out and specifically said this title, the World Heavyweight title, will be exclusive to Monday Night Raw.
Quote
and now it's going to be defended on NXT on Tuesday night, which again, and also, why is this on NXT? Why is this not at a pay-per-view? Why is this not at the next NXT event that they have, or even at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam? I mean, maybe it's leading to that. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I don't know. This felt random. I have no doubt the match is going to deliver. I have no doubt it's going to be great. but it just felt random. And again, it just goes to show you, okay, I've moved on from Damian Priest, and I guess I have Finn Balor next, and now I'm going after Braun Breaker. So I don't know. It just feels random. It just feels just out of the blue. And while I'm excited about it, I'm also a little apprehensive about it.
I'm like in the same boat as you. It's funny too because it was like totally random, and the show was over, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, we got to cut to the break, like back. Braun Breaker has something to say," and then he cut the promo.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: promo, good, right? What he said, good. Delivery, good. The challenge, okay, good, but not on NXT. I like that he did bring up that he was the first ever NXT champ, so that's why he come back to NXT. But I don't know if this is like for them to see how Braun Breaker fits. So if he can move to Raw or SmackDown, seeing if he fits well with a Seth Rollins and if he can deliver a match. But it feels bizarro land to me. I don't know why Seth Rollins would be like, okay, I'll come wrestle Braun Breaker on NXT. And then why have that? Are we going to have someone interfere then and have it be a no contest? Because Braun Breaker can't take another L. He once again just took an L to Carmelo Hayes, a clean L, and now he's going to like lose I mean, you can't be a BA if you're going to lose all the time. But yeah, I did like the fact that he challenged him. It was good shock value. That's what I think they were trying to get out of it. HBK wanted a little bit of shock that you never know what's going to happen on NXT, and Braun Breaker said that, and it felt good. Like when you heard it, I didn't see that coming, so it was cool. It was like, oh shit, okay, get it, Braun Breaker. But now thinking about it, it doesn't make sense. We don't need him wrestling for the title and so on NXT. But it is what it is. I'll wait to and we'll see where it goes from here. But it was a cool ending and it did have good shock value, but I don't now when thinking about it, I'm like, whatever.
And I thought it was a solid night for NXT. I thought it was a good way to end the show. And this was one of their better episodes in a while. And I thought everything felt important. Baron Corbin looks like a star. Mustafa Ali beat Joe Gacy in like 15 seconds. And then you have the Braun Breaker stuff at the end. So I thought it was a good show. Good show.
Me too. All right, man. You ready?
Yes, sir.
So much stuff happened. So now it is time for our segment this week. And it is report card time. Perfect time to do report card, right? Because it's the end of the school year for our kids and everything. So report cards are coming. So with this segment, what we do is that myself and Shooting Star are going to throw out some things that are going on in the WWE right now. And we're going to grade them on what we think on a scale of A to F. So as always, gentlemen, first, Mr. Shooting Star Press, what do you got for me?
Oh, man. Okay. Let me go through my list here. All right. I'll give you a hard one to start off. But okay. Triple H as head of creative since he took over, how would you grade him?
You know what? I'm going to be – he's my boy from DX forever. I'm going to say A-. I'm going to say A-. Yeah. And you want to know why I'm going to do A-? Because nothing in life is perfect, right? And I'm grading him on a curve. So that, which means I'm going to grade him from his predecessors, from when he was doing it to now. And since Triple H took over, he brought people back who needed it. He made belts feel important. He's had the Bloodline storyline get even better. He's built in people like Judgment Day. And he made AEW better because AEW was sucking it up. And now they are so much better because they had to push their game and even created a collision to kind of counter. They needed to step their game up. So I'm going to do A- because you don't have to be perfect. And sometimes you grade on a curve. And I think WWE is so much better since Vince has been gone. Shoot, Vince took over Raw one night when we were there. And look how dog shit it was. So it just shows that how good Triple H has done. And I know maybe in hindsight, people will think maybe a B- or a C because WWE's not perfect. But people are getting put. I mean, he brought Trish Stratus back for crying out loud. And you know that has to do with Vince leaving. So there's just so many things being, and even though Karrion Kross, LA Knight, Bray Wyatt, there's been people who have failed. Nothing's perfect. I'm going to go A-.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to say, I'm one of those people. I'm going to say B-.
All right.
I think he's made Raw and SmackDown. I feel if we're grading him on pay-per-views, he's a solid A. There's not been a bad pay-per-view since Triple H took over. All the pay-per-views have been great. But as far as booking week to week, I got to give him a low B. Just because of, like you said, Karrion Kross, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Damage Control, all these people that he brought back that are kind of have fallen by the wayside. The couple episodes of Monday Night Raw where Dexter Lumis was wreaking havoc and causing stuff. He was causing car accidents backstage, and he is getting escorted out by security. And then now he's not even on TV, and he doesn't really have a character. Johnny Gargano hasn't really done anything since he's been to the main roster. And then everything that happened with the draft. And I think it's because the reason why I keep harping on the draft is because he came out and specifically said, he cut the announcement about the return of the draft, and he said it was going to be game changing, and it was going to be, it's going to make or break new superstars, and we're going to have a new era of the WWE. He came out and said all this. They could have just, done like hey, the draft is next week, and we wouldn't. I don't think I would have cared so much, but because he came out, it made me feel like this draft is going to be super important. And even a weekend, you're having Raw versus SmackDown with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, and now, Sami Zayn and KO drafted to Raw with both sets of titles, and then Rhea Ripley holding the SmackDown title on Monday Night Raw, and Bianca Belair and now Asuka holding the Raw title on SmackDown. And I don't know. And then everything that happened with the Workhorse title and the title exclusive to Raw, but it's being defended on NXT. And I mean, Raw and SmackDown have been so much better. The Bloodline story has been great, but everything else, I feel like Triple H has taken some L's, and I think he needs to take a couple of L's.
All right. I agree with that. Yeah. All right. You ready? This would be an easy one. How do you grade the Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark's group so far, their little faction?
A. I think this is a solid A so far. I think this is it's given Zoe Stark a huge rub that, if you're not going to have her in the title picture, this is the next best place for her to be. Mm-hmm. Trish Stratus can make anybody look like $1 million because she looks like $1 million. And I think Zoe Stark is one of the future women's champions. And I think having this program with Trish, having this alliance with her against Becky Lynch. I mean, how often Becky Lynch is one of the biggest stars in WWE, and especially on the women's roster. And we've yet to see Rhea Ripley against Becky Lynch. We've yet to see Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, but Zoe Stark, one of her first matches is going to be against Becky Lynch on the main roster. And I think that's huge. And that's all because of Trish Stratus. So I got to give it an A.
I agree. And I'm going to go A+. I'm going to say this has been perfect. And I got to say A+. And the thing that I love about it is that I was watching Zoe Stark come out. Okay. She has a Money in the Bank qualifying match. And I was so just amazed at the fact that Trish, B-roll says, MWO, if he gave it a bad grade, what would you have done? I don't know. Booked a flight and kicked somebody's butt in North Carolina. JK,
his internet would die again, and my
internet would die. I'm over this. But no, Trish, just think about it. Trish Stratus is a Hall of Famer. She hasn't been around forever. She decides to come back to wrestle in this feud with Becky Lynch, and now has decided to take an NXT star and put her under the wings and be her manager, basically. Trish freaking Stratus has come back full time to push Zoe Stark. She was in her corner pushing her. She's promoting her for her. She has her in her shirt. Thank you, Trish. Imagine Zoe Stark, how great that is. That this woman who literally is getting paid and doesn't need to do this at all has decided to come back and push you as a person. I think this is amazing. It's working. Zoe Starks is the phenomenal heel, as is Trish. Good job. Thank you, Trish, and thank you, Triple H, because this is magic.
Yeah, this is money. This is great.
I'm all for it, and I think Zoe Starks, man, how cool is that? Now, every day you don't get a star like this. This is level of evolution and things like that. When our RKO, this is that same type of thing where you're getting a young person who's going to be a star with when Zoe Starks 8 years from now is a star and we talk about it, you're going to look back at this moment being remember when Trish pushed her? These are those times. So.
All right. I agree. All right. I'm going to go over to NXT for this one.
Nice.
Because we might, again, yet another faction may be on the outs, but how would you grade Schism as a whole?
I had the same question on one of mine. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Okay. I have a Schism shirt. I love Schism. I love them. I want them to succeed. I want them to be big. I love Ava Reigns. I just love them all. I'm going to do a C-. I'm going to say a C-. I think they have been booked awful. I think they've been wasted. I think you don't need champions. I feel like they were like a Bryant type thing where they didn't need belts to succeed, but they don't ever win. Joe Gacy is like this guy who's like running his mouth, but he loses all the time. It's Ava Rain is, I mean, they got the win this week and I get that, but then they went and just had Joe Gacy lose right out. Like, why was Joe Gacy losing to Ali? You couldn't have Ali take that L. Like, I don't know. It's all just weird to me. I think minus their look and their feel, Schism has been a huge, huge disappointment. I think a C- is generous just because I really like them.
Yeah. I'm going to go D. I mean, I like them. I want them to be successful, but I mean, you also have the dyad in that group too. And they maybe requested their releases, but they didn't, but maybe they did, but they didn't get granted. So now as punishment, they lose every match that they're in too, because nobody asked for their release from the WWE without punishment. Yeah. And then, Joe Gacy, you had Baron Corbin, and who's now probably your biggest star in NXT, go maybe 15, 20 minutes with Trick Williams, but you had Joe Gacy lose to Mustafa Ali in less than 3 minutes. It's just makes no sense. And they even teased at the end there that Joe Gacy is either, I think he said that he's the one that's letting them down. He's the one that's disappointing them. And he's tired of it. So either he's going to turn over a new leaf and start winning, or they're going to get tired of him and they're going to start winning and he's going to be kicked out of the group. But either way, I really wanted Schism to be successful, but at this point, I think they are what they are. And yeah, I think I like that Ava Rain got a victory this week, but it meant nothing when Joe Gacy lost in less than 3 minutes to Ali in his debut match. So D for me.
True that. And it does look like another faction is breaking up.
Yeah, I know. They're all breaking up at the same exact time.
All right, let's go to what I was saying. Grade the new Universal title for Roman Reigns.
Oh, I knew this question was coming. All right. At first, when that title was first revealed, I'd give it an F. When that title was first, I was like, oh my God. You texted
me crapping on it, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's hideous. It is ugly. But then I went and looked at it on like WWE Shop, because I put all the titles in my cart. I haven't told my wife this, but I'm gonna buy one day. I haven't bought one. Haven't bought it.
All right.
But they're in my cart. So whenever she gives me I guess I will have to tell her, because I got to ask her permission if I can spend $400 on the title belt.
That's how it works.
But it is. But and I thought the same thing about the World Heavyweight Championship too. That it was hideous. But then when they unveiled it, or when you saw it on the website, I thought it looked a lot better. I was like, okay, I like this title. I think it's pretty dope. And I think maybe I didn't like it at first because of the lighting in the arena. It was just a lot of it. I think it was all supposed to be gold around the big W, but it looked really yellow to me. It looked like Roman Reigns didn't like it based on his reaction when he got it. He was like smiling. I couldn't tell if he was like happy that he was getting a new title, or was like, oh my gosh, this is hideous. Like I want those other two titles. So after the unveiling, I thought it was an F. But after a little bit and seeing Roman Reigns on TikTok holding the belt away from the lighting, I give it a C+. I don't think it's not the ugliest looking title I've seen, but I think it's not I wasn't expecting the Winged Eagle to come back. I wasn't expecting Roman to have his own Smoke and Skull title or a spinner title or something with like I guess the Superman logo, since he does the Superman punch on it or something. I don't know, but it's kind of what I was expecting. But I was expecting a little bit of a different design. I don't really like the big W in the middle, but it is what it is, and yeah, I give it a C+.
All right, I like it. I always like this title. I like this title. I like the logo. I always thought this was a really good looking title. I hate color. I've always been a title belt. That's why I don't like I didn't like the men's tag team. I don't like color. It needs to just be gold. Gold belts is what championships are. They turned it gold. I like it. I just wanted to mention too that I said I hated Seth Rollins' belt, then I said I kind of liked it. I hate it again. Watching him wear it and stuff, they messed up with the giant circle WWE logo. It looks like a hot mess. It looks like 3 different belts combined in one. I don't like it. I do like the women's tag team titles. I've always liked them, and seeing them on Ronda and Shayna, those are good-looking titles. WWE does some good titles. Some of their belts, like the U.S. title, is really pretty. It's a good-looking belt. I know that has some color, but it's U.S. It makes sense. You need the red, white, and blue. But I really, really like Roman's title. I'm gonna go B+ just because it's the same title. I can't give it an A because it's recycled.
Yeah.
I thought at least they'd change it a little bit. Just so to make it feel instead of blue and red, and now it's or whatever black. But I do like the gold. I like it. I think it should have always been gold, and I like this look because this is a rehash of the belt that The Rock had. Remember The Rock when he got his new belt when he beat Punk? It was the big WWE on it. I like the belt. I think it looks good, and I like the gold, and I think it's better than Seth Rollins' belts. So I'll do B+. Yeah, I still think AEW does better belts, but yeah, this is a good.
I do like it. The only thing I don't like about it is I don't know what the title is. I don't know what it's called.
Undisputed Universal Championship, right?
But the belt just says it doesn't say undisputed on it. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it just I think it just says WWE Universal Champion on it. Yeah, I wish it said something about undisputed or something, but yeah, but other than that, it's a good title. I like it better than Seth's too. Yeah,
me too. All right, game over on this Wednesday WWE episode before my internet goes out. Really quick, tomorrow we are here, AEW. We're talking all things Dynamite and Collision, and it is our 50th episode. So tune in. That's a big mark right there.
Was that the silver anniversary? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think so. We doing big. And then we're gonna get into it next week. We're gonna switch over to nighttime, primetime hours. Start TikToking more, start doing some lives. We're getting it big. Two Dudes Wolfpack, we are back. As always, thank you for tuning in. I know we did a random time today. We're actually ending when we normally start, so it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta switch it up. As always, thank you for tuning in, watching. Our last episode got viewed a ton, so I guess when I leave and Shooting Star Press takes over, people want to tune in. So, I'm telling you. So keep tuning in. Thank you so much, Wolfpack. As always, I'm Mr. MWO, and with me is
Shooting Star Press. We're all on the TikTok. We're on Instagram. Hit us up or subscribe to us on YouTube. Two Dudes with Attitudes is our @ Find us on Twitch. Two Dudes with Attitudes Pod. Twitch.tv/Two Dudes with Attitudes Pod. We're growing. We're getting big. We're Apple and Spotify and anywhere you get your audio podcast from. We're there too. So hit us up, download, subscribe. Rate us and review us because the more love we get, the more attention we get on the main page, and that just leads to big things for us. So
true that.
Appreciate everyone's love and support.
All right, here's a song we missed at the beginning.
All right.
Two Dudes with Attitudes. We out.